So, once we've figured out what those three developments are, we say development 1, development 2, and development 3. And obviously, we do this in chronological order. Even if development 2 is the most significant one for the audience, it would confuse people if you said, well, most importantly, there was development 2, but before that, there was development 1, and after there was development 3. Nobody knows what you're talking about anymore. So you do this chronologically. And staying with our, let's say, our general model, you've got a one-sentence introduction. Then you have one sentence that tells you about the first chronological development. The share price went up. Now, after that, you add in what I am going to call a why sentence. Meaning that it's not enough just to tell your audience that IBM's share price rocketed up by 30% last September. You've got to tell them why it rose. This will be your overall structure. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sentences. Basically, 5 of which you can learn by heart, and you'll never have a problem, neither in writing nor, more importantly, when speaking publicly. Now, here's the sentence that I invented in the sauna of the Manhattan Fitness Center so many years ago, and it never fails. No matter what the graph is, let's up, down, straight. Regardless of what this is, you start out by saying this graph. And now, just so that we can be choosy, the next word you will use is illustrates. Or, if you prefer, represents. Or, if you really want to kiss my ass, depicts. And if you are more self-confident, you can use displays or even shows. All of these verbs can be used regardless of what the next... Okay?
I think I have to move a little closer.
You do or I do?
I do.
Well, you do that. Okay, this graph illustrates the development of. Now, here's where we write in the share price of IBM, or the value of the, in honor of our guests, the Russian peso, or the gold price, the sales volume of company ABC. So you see, here's where you have to use your brain a little bit. No? Alright, this graph illustrates the development of the share price of IBM, and now you have another qualifier. Between Y and Z, between January 1st, 2001 and December 31st, 2007, whatever dates that are relevant, or throughout a time period of X, throughout a time period of 12 months, of 5 years, of two centuries, whatever is necessary. These two obviously only work if we have a chronological graph, if the line graph is based on time events. But sometimes you'll have line graphs that are not based on a time development, rather on something else. And there you use in regards to z. Who can think of a line graph that is not based on time, where time is not what the x-axis is? Important. How about demand curve? If you recall, we've seen that a few times. The demand curve is based on price up here and demand down here. If we took that, that would not be based on time. There we would use this graph illustrates the development of consumer demand for laptops in regards to price. So there, that's what we use if we don't have a chronological horizon on the x-axis. Here's the wonderful thing I gotta add, comma, with A shown on the vertical axis and B on the horizontal axis. Those of you that feel comfortable writing or speaking in English anyway, vary on that, of course. Make it your own. But those of you that need an anchor, this is a very solid anchor. It's always right. We're going to go to the conclusion sentence. This is the second sentence that is always the same, no matter what. The last sentence you're going to write should follow the line of something like, in conclusion, or in summary, or in closing. In conclusion, therefore. What is therefore the translation of? In German, how would I translate therefore? Ja, das ist gut. This is the biggest single mistake that I catch students making over and over every year, every degree. Therefore, although it sounds like it, is not a translation for dafür. Sometimes it works, unfortunately. About 50% of the time it'll work. But if you want to translate dafür, then use something like for this, or in order to do this, or something. But don't use therefore. It's not safe. Therefore is a translation of deshalb. So in conclusion, deshalb, the graph shows. And now, if we look at this masterpiece, is this a very brutal development? Is this very extreme, or is it more or less steady? What would you say? More or less depends on what?
Depends on the numbers on the axis.
Yeah, he's right. He's right, but he's also what we call a klugscheißer. But he is right. We'll say that the numbers are rather sparsely divided, so it's actually not a very extreme development. You can usually, when you're concluding, summarize. Was the development something that is fairly calm, fairly steady, or was it something that will throw the audience off its rocker, off its seat? And depending on that, you can use one of two words. The graph shows a steady, comma, or you can use a turbulent. Now, there's obviously many other words you could use. And now, all in all, if you look at this, is this what you would consider to be a positive development or a negative development? It goes down overall, and we use that after steady and turbulent. Positive or negative. With this combination, you can usually summarize the overall development in a graph, again, regardless of what the development was. It could be a steady negative development, it could be a turbulent negative development, it could be a steady positive development, or it could be a steady negative development.